Thanks for joining this webinar on Velixo Reports for Acumatica. My name is Gabriel Michaud, and I am the founder of Velixo. I have been working in the ERP software world for the last 20 years, the last 10 as part of the Acumatica family. Velixo is headquartered in Montreal, Canada, and we have team members, customers, and partners worldwide. The story behind Velixo Reports goes back many years ago, before Acumatica even existed. In the early 2000s, I was working as a software developer on my very first ERP application. One of the projects that my team was working on was improving the built-in financial reports. We kept adding new reports, new fields, more filters, and more options, yet customers were never totally satisfied with what we were delivering. At some point, we realized that customers were expecting to have the same flexibility, same power, and same ease of use as Microsoft Excel. So rather than trying to rebuild Excel inside our application, somebody on my team, very smart guy, suggested that maybe we should try doing it the other way around. That is, bringing our application to Microsoft Excel. That's where the idea of tightly integrating an ERP application with Excel was born. Velixo Reports has nothing in common with that old application I was working on many years ago. However, all the experience that I gained building, but also supporting and working with users of that product has helped me build a better product for you. Velixo was built from the ground up for Acumatica, and I will also add for Acumatica only. To me, that's quite important because it allows us to focus on the best and unique capabilities of Acumatica. During the presentation today, I will show you features such as Smart Drilldown, the Unified Security Model, and Writeback that are made possible thanks to the very tight integration that we have with Acumatica. Velixo Reports adds a new toolbar to Excel, that's the Acumatica toolbar that you will see in just a few minutes, and a set of over 50 functions that are designed to work with your Acumatica GL and your Acumatica project data. Simplicity and ease of use are one of the key strengths of Velixo Reports. Installation takes just a few seconds, and after you just need to connect using the same credentials that you use to log in to Acumatica every day. Every function that we add to Excel is documented through the Excel IntelliSense feature. That means that as soon as you start typing the function, you see a description and how to use it. If you know how to use Excel, you already know how to use Velixo Reports. With Velixo, your reports are lightning fast, everything is live, and totally secure. To make your life easier, we leverage the Acumatica security subsystem and allow you to log in using the same credentials that you use to log in to Acumatica. All the powerful security features of Acumatica are supported, including branch, account, and sub-account level restrictions. Thanks to our exclusive Smart Refresh technology, your reports will load and refresh in a matter of seconds. No more exports or manual data entry needed. By simply adding additional connections, you are able to consolidate multiple companies, tenants, and instances inside the same spreadsheet. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and I'm sure that you cannot wait to see the product in action. Before I get started, I would like to share exciting news with you. Velixo has been growing extremely fast, and in the last 12 months, we have multiplied the number of active customers by 7. We recently completed a customer satisfaction survey, and our plus 67 NPS score shows that our customers are extremely satisfied with the product. After you see the demo, I am absolutely convinced that you will want to join the growing family of happy Velixo users. Let's get started. First, I will install the Velixo add-in on my computer. This is the same add-in that every user of Velixo will have to install. It supports Excel 2010 for Windows and later. The good news is that a Velixo license covers your entire organization, so you can install it on as many computers and share it with as many users as you want. Once the installation is completed, Excel will open. The first thing that you will notice is the new Acumatica ribbon in the Excel toolbar. This is where you will be accessing some of the key features in Velixo. For my first demo, I would like to create a simple trial balance that will show me every GL account code, the account name, and the current balance. I will first open the connection manager to link my spreadsheet to my Acumatica system. Let's click Add, enter the URL, the tenant name, and finally my credentials. I'm using the same username and same password that I use when I connect to Acumatica using my web browser. Let's click Connect and start building our report. Since we're creating a trial balance, I will start by inserting my chart of accounts in my report. So I will go to the Tools section and click Insert Chart of Accounts. Here we go. Next, I would like to retrieve the account name from Acumatica. To do that, I will be using one of the functions that we add to Excel, a function called account name. It's very easy to find. All I have to do is press equal and then type account name. As you can see, Excel shows me the available functions and a description of the function when I type it. It's a very simple function. All I need to do is enter my connection name and the account code. Let's press enter and copy this down. Next, I would like to show the current account balance in column C. But before I do that, let's add some formatting to our report. I also want to make it easy to switch between ledgers and financial periods. So I will add two filters at the top of my report. We will be looking at the actual ledger and the first period of the year. Finally, to retrieve the balance from Acumatica, we will be using another function called account ending balance. At this point, however, you may be wondering if it's possible to see a list of all the available functions somewhere. And the answer is yes. Excel provides you the insert function window, and from that window, you can see a list of every function available in Excel. The Acumatica specific functions are conveniently grouped in two categories: the Acumatica General Ledger Module functions and the Acumatica Project Module functions. Let's take a look. You see a list of every function, a description, and when you click on OK, Excel shows you a list of arguments and what is expected for all these arguments. You can also click on the help link if you need additional information, and that will take you to support.velixo.com. That's our self-support portal available to every Velixo user. On the support.velixo.com website, you will see a detailed description of every single function, as well as additional information on how to get started with the product, and also a few sample reports that you can download and use as a template for your own financial reports. That's a public website. You do not require any password to log in, so feel free to take a look at the end of the presentation today. It's at support.velixo.com. Now let's go back to Excel and finish our report. I will enter the connection name once again. And by the way, in case you are wondering why I need to enter a connection name, it's because we allow you to connect to multiple Acumatica instances or tenants. That is useful if you want to create consolidated report, and the connection name is what tells Excel where to load the data from. Okay, ledger, my account code here, and finally my period. So you have probably noticed that it's possible to filter by account class and also by account, and that we also have the ability to filter on the sub-account and the branch. Velixo is very flexible. However, you do not have to use every single feature. If you leave something blank, such as the sub-account and branch filters, Velixo will return the values from every single sub-account. And this is exactly what I want for my first report. One last thing before I click OK, since I will be copy-pasting my function down, I want to make sure that my references are fixed. So for the ledger, I will put a $ in front of the row number, in front of the column for the account, and same thing for the period right here. Let's click OK and copy this down. That's it. We have finished our first report. What you can see now is the current balance of every single Acumatica account from the actual ledger and for period 01-2019. I can save my report, reopen it later, and simply click refresh from the Acumatica toolbar to see the latest data. Everything that you see at this point is also completely live, so if you make any change in the spreadsheet that impacts the calculation, Excel will refresh the data right away. For example, you can change the financial period and press enter, and Excel recalculates instantly. You can also copy-paste the column. Maybe you want to compare your actuals with your budget. So I will simply change the budget, press enter, and Excel will show me the budget ledger. Now that you understand the basics, I will switch to a different file that we'll be using for the rest of my demo. You're looking at a very nice reporting package that was built using Excel and Velixo Reports. In that file, you will find multiple tabs that each contain different reports or different views of the same report. Right now, we are looking at the P&L, but I can also switch to a different view that shows me the last 12 months of activity with a nice trend chart on the left, or to a cash flow statement, a project report, a trial balance, and even a budget. Let's get back to the first sheet, the main P&L, and look at the different layout and formatting capabilities that we are leveraging in that file. First of all, you will notice that we have our company logo at the top and that we have a drop-down right here that allows us to switch and look at different branches in our company. We're also using conditional formatting in the variance column. The little green and red arrows that you see right here are made possible thanks to this conditional formatting feature that is built into Excel. Absolutely everything that you know and love in Excel can be used in your spreadsheets with the Velixo and Acumatica functions. If we look at the expenses section right here, you can see that we have a total and that on the left side we have a little plus arrow. This is a data group, and data groups allow us to quickly collapse or expand different sections in your report. While we're looking at expenses, I would like to highlight one more feature in Excel that can be used very easily with Velixo: charts. Let's select all the expenses, go to Insert, and click the pie chart option. Expenses by category. In just a few clicks, I have created a chart, and that chart is live. It will refresh and recalculate just like everything else in the spreadsheet. Let's switch to another branch. You can see that the P&L updates and the chart updates at the same time. It works just like Excel because it is Excel. Let's go back to the Acumatica toolbar and take a look at some of the additional features that are included in Velixo and that are designed to make your life easier. I would like to start with something that we call Smart Drilldown. This is by far my favorite feature in Velixo Reports. Have you ever worked on a large spreadsheet for hours and got stuck on a number, wondering how Excel came up to this total or where exactly the number is coming from? I'm sure that the answer to my question is yes. Well, I have good news for you. Thanks to Smart Drilldown, you are able to click on any cell in your spreadsheet, even calculations and summary, and then simply go to Drill Down to see a list of all the GL accounts, sub-accounts, and branches that were included in that calculation. We not only show you a summary of all the different combinations, but also where in the spreadsheet we found it. For example, we have a travel expense that is right here, and it is coming from the cell D27. I can click on the hyperlink, and Excel will take me right back to the cell. If I want, I can also click on View Transactions, and my web browser will open, showing me the full list of transactions contained in the selected account. I can then drill down to see the original document in Acumatica. I now have access to every single feature of Acumatica, including the ability to view notes and file attachments. This means that I can click on the little icon right here and see the original receipt for my night at the Hilton, 201.73. This is exactly what we had here in Excel and on the P&L. That's a magical feature, right? Next up is automated report distribution. You will sometimes need to run, refresh, export, and email your reports. Maybe it's the entire report with every single tab, or maybe it's just a specific tab, like a project report that needs to be sent to a project manager, or the P&L that needs to be sent to a specific manager of a specific branch. The automated report distribution feature included in Velixo takes the pain out of this process. Let me show you how it works. First, I will start by creating a new distribution list. Then I will select the format of the file that should be generated whenever I run the distribution list. I can choose between Excel and PDF file formats. If I'm sending the file to someone without access to Acumatica or access to the Velixo add-in, I can choose to remove the Velixo formulas and the Acumatica connection. This is what we will use for the first file that we will call full reporting package. In the tab selection column, you can specify the tabs or sheets that should be included in the report. By leaving it blank, I'm telling Excel that I want to include absolutely everything in my report. Then, I need to specify where the file should be exported or the email address to whom the file should be sent. For the first example, I simply want to export it to my temp folder, but this could also be a network share or even a folder that is synchronized with a cloud storage service like Dropbox, OneDrive, SharePoint, or Box. Finally, I'm going to password protect my file, so people that try to open the Excel file will need to enter the password before they can access it. Let's add another line. This time I want to generate a PDF report that will contain my consolidated P&L. In the tab selection column, I will simply enter my P&L, but I could also list multiple sheets and multiple tabs if I wanted to include them in the report. This one will be sent by email to my CFO, and I will call that your monthly P&L. I would also like to send another P&L to somebody that manages the services division of my company. So let's choose PDF once again and give it a slightly different name, same tab, and let's send that to the services manager at velixo.com. Call it your monthly P&L. This time, I want Excel to change the branch setting that I have here to a different branch. The first one will be sent for the consolidated branch and the second P&L for the services each branch. This can be done very easily using the automated report distribution feature by adding a column that matches the name of the cell. You will notice right here that it says branch name. This is the name I gave to my cell that is contained in B6. You can do the same thing with absolutely every cell in your spreadsheet. Let's say, for example, you wanted to set the financial period when you run the report. You could simply replace D7 here by fin period and then reference that in your distribution list. In my case, I want to set the branch name, so let's add the column and specify the branch name for the 3 reports that should be included in the distribution list. Consolidated, and last one is Services East. Okay, that's it. Let's run the distribution list. We simply click on Distribute All, and we do all the work for you. That's it. The worksheet has been distributed successfully. Let's take a look first at the temp folder. We should see one file, that's the full reporting package. Let's try to open it to see if Excel will ask us for a password. That's correct. Let's type it and click OK. And let's take a look at the formulas. As you can see, instead of the account ending balance or account turnover function of Velixo, we now see a value. Velixo has replaced every single formula that depends on a connection to Acumatica with values. The other standard Excel formulas are still part of your report. You can see in the total expenses that the sum is still there. This means that if you make an adjustment to your report, that everything will recalculate. Now let's go to Outlook. We should have 2 emails sitting in the drafts folder of Outlook. That's a default behavior. You can see right here in the email delivery section that Save to Drafts was selected. Let's go to Outlook, Drafts, and we have 2 emails. The first one is to the CFO with the consolidated P&L. Let's open it. And you can see 1-page P&L, and it's set on the consolidated branch. Let's look at the other one, Services P&L. And this one is filtered on the Services East branch, just like we set in the distribution list. You can have multiple distribution lists in the same file. So if you have a different set of reports that should be run on a weekly and another set for monthly reporting, you can do that as well. The list only has to be created once, and then whenever you need to run the report and the distribution list, you just click Distribute All. I was training a new Velixo user recently, and after seeing the automated report distribution feature, he commented on how that Distribute All button automates about 2 days of his life every month. For them, that would be a huge time saver, and just like everything that you're seeing today in Velixo, this is part of the product. Everything is included. The last feature of Velixo that I would like to look at today is called Writeback. So far, we have been focused on accessing your Acumatica data and reporting, but did you know that it's also possible to post journal transactions and update your budgets without leaving Excel? That's absolutely right, and it's super easy to use as well. Let's start by looking at the Budget Writeback feature. First, I will create a new budget worksheet from the Budget Writeback menu. This will bring up a blank budget template that I can then fill up by entering all the different accounts that I want included in my budget. Instead of building an entire budget from scratch, I will use one that I created a few minutes ago. It includes a few revenue and expense accounts, and also 2 extra columns that I added to my budget. This is Excel, so you're free to add your own columns and your own calculations in your budget. For my 2020 budget, I want to look at my actuals from last year. So I'm loading the balances using the account ending balance function of Velixo. And then I want to apply an adjustment. This is my forecast for 2020. So let's forecast a 7% increase in sales. Freight costs will go up by 2. Inventory, no change. Labor costs and salaries. And then that's it. As you can see my period by period budget updates, I've also added a nice chart to show my revenue and margin. Once you are happy with the budget, you just go to Budget Writeback and click Import, and this will push the budget to Acumatica. My user account has access to the Acumatica budget entry screen, but just like everything else in Velixo and Acumatica, your account needs to be set up with the necessary roles and access rights. Users without access to the budget will not be able to use this feature from Excel either. Once the budget has been imported and uploaded to Acumatica, it's ready to be released, and then you can use the new budget figures in your reports. Another writeback option included with Velixo allows you to post journal transactions from Excel. You first start by creating a blank transaction worksheet, and then you just fill in the blanks. You can make calculations or reference Acumatica functions in your Writeback template. Once you are ready to import, just go to the Writeback menu and click Import. The system will validate the transaction, and once it's been saved, it will open the Journal Transactions window in Acumatica. You can make a final review and then take it off hold and release the transaction. If you prefer, you can also pause a transaction immediately without opening it in your browser. You just need to change the settings in your Writeback template, and then the next time you import it, Excel will simply tell you that the batch has been posted and give you the batch number. You can have multiple write-back templates like this one in your spreadsheet. Feel free to rename it and add additional ones as needed. This completes my presentation of Velixo Reports for Acumatica. Velixo Reports starts at only $150 a month and can be purchased through your Acumatica partner. That price is good for an unlimited number of users and installations. If you want to experience the power and simplicity of Velixo Reports, you can also request a free trial by contacting us. Our contact info is on screen right now. Thank you and happy reporting with Excel.